I love Christmas films, and I'm quite a fan of films about the Amish. So when I discovered Christmas at the Amish Bakery, needless to say, I was very excited for this one. And I'm pleased to say it was a really enjoyable experience. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Jeff Hare, written by Jennifer Snow, and we have a cast including Alexandra Harris, Sean Koetting, Emma Henderson, Francesca Barker McCormick, and various others. And this is about Sarah, a book editor who lives in Chicago, but she grew up as part of an Amish family. But after Roomspringer, she decided to leave and take up this career as a book editor, editing cookbooks. And her boss suddenly gets the idea that maybe Sarah should go back home to visit her family and encourage them to create a cookbook so that they can sell this Amish cookbook. And I have to say, that does sound interesting. I do think the concept of Amish recipes would be something I don't cook in the slightest, but I would be interested to read what that's like. So I don't think it's a terrible idea, but where the problem lies is that her boss insists this is going to happen, and it's very clear that Sarah can't just turn up on their doorstep and say, hey, my boss wants to create a cookbook. It's not going to be received very well. So if she visits them, and of course the big question is, when will she ask them? How will they respond? And I'm not going to say. But I really thoroughly enjoyed the narrative. She also has to work to try and help save her family's bakery. And she does so with the help of Dean, who is not Amish, but lives in the area. And Dean is a character I really liked, but it took me a little bit of time to warm to him. Eventually, I'd say probably about halfway through the film, I really started to like him. He has a little girl, and they recently lost his wife, her mother, so it's quite an emotional film. Sarah's father as well is a really fascinating character. He has a lot of emotion right at the surface, but doesn't really want to display that emotion. And the performance there just was absolutely brilliant. I really thoroughly enjoyed getting to know the character. He's played by G. Michael Nicolosi, and it was a really, really moving performance. Everybody gave a really great performance. With regards to the factual accuracy, I am by no means an expert on Amish life, but what I will say is if you're looking for a film to learn about the Amish, this isn't really one to go with. It doesn't really go into Amish life very much. There are a few things shared here and there, but it's not the most comprehensive. So if, like me, you like films about the Amish, but you're looking for a more relaxing, generally light-hearted, Christmassy film, it's a good one to go with. If you're looking for a film that will provide a solid education about Amish life, it might not be the best one to go with. But while there may be inaccuracies, I don't know. For me, it was believable enough, and that's all I could ask for. There's only one thing about the film that really, really irritated me, and it's a tiny little sentence, and it didn't affect my overall enjoyment. But in the interest of nitpicking, I will mention what that is in a moment. It is a spoiler warning, but in general, I loved it. I thought Christmas at the Amish Bakery was a really lovely experience. It's a very festive film, very, very festive, but it's not sickly sweet. I know not everybody loves the festive films that are all about shopping in department stores and making all of the hot drinks and generally all of the things I really like about Christmas films. This one's festive but not sickly sweet. I think it has a nice balance there. If it sounds like a film for you, check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. I thought Christmas at the Amish Bakery was a really magical experience. And I will now mention the one bit that really, really irritated me. And it's such a tiny thing, but as I said, in the interest of nitpicking, I'm going to mention this. So this is a spoiler that happens right at the end of the film. So big, big spoiler for what happens. I won't say what happens with the cookbook, but Sarah ends up going back home. And Dean and Sarah have obviously developed feelings for each other. So Dean drives to Sarah's to deliver her Christmas present on Christmas Day, leaving his daughter back with Sarah's father on Christmas Day. And as Sarah pointed out to him, he drove 6 hours on Christmas Day to visit her, which means that he's spending 12 hours, because he has to go back there, away from his daughter on Christmas Day. His daughter, who is grieving her mother, who is now spending Christmas Day without either parent, just because he's fallen in love with somebody new. That's disgusting. That's absolutely horrendous. And he says to her, I'm only sorry that you didn't spend Christmas with your family. Well, neither did you. You've just driven, according to her, 6 hours to visit her, and then 6 hours back, so you, by choice, have also not spent Christmas Day with your family. So I'm not saying that what he did wasn't a nice gesture, but it was an incredibly selfish decision to leave his daughter. And I'm sure his daughter's fine. I'm sure she's not that bothered. She was, I think, playing backgammon or checkers or something. She was playing some game. She seemed to be occupied, and she really likes Sarah's father as well. They get along really well. So it's sweet, but he's just left his daughter on Christmas Day to chase after his new fancy. So I'm not exactly a fan of the character by the end of the film. I realise it's a tiny thing, but it kind of ruins the message of why don't you be with your family at Christmas? And he does. He takes her back and she's with her family, and that's very nice. But in order to do that, he had to abandon his daughter for 12 hours on Christmas Day. So it kind of ruined the message a little bit and made him look like a selfish idiot. And as I said, it took me a while to warm to the character, and we kind of went full circle by the end there. I know it's a tiny thing, but it just seemed like a massive oversight. If anything else, they either should have made it not Christmas Day, maybe the day after, or Christmas Eve, if they'd shifted the timeline a bit and made it Christmas Eve, that I could get on board with. Or Sarah shouldn't have moved quite so far away. If it was only maybe an hour away, maybe I could get on board with it. So it would have been such a simple thing to fix as well. But at the end of the day, if that's the only issue I have with the film, fair enough. After all of that, Christmas at the Amish Bakery is still a delightful film, and I am, of course, still very happy to recommend it.